Hi guys, Richard from Digital Foundry here with some impressions and performance metrics on Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Going into the game, for us there were two key questions. Is performance improved over AC Unity, and what's the situation like with regards to bugs, glitches and overall stability? What's immediately apparent as you play your way through the overly long tutorial mission is that Ubisoft has made little in the way of fundamental improvements to the core rendering technology that powers Assassin's Creed Syndicate. The same Anvil Next engine runs the game, and the same basic compromises we found in Unity are present and correct here, specifically the utilization of internal upscaling, with both Xbox One and PlayStation 4 versions of Syndicate sporting the same 900p resolution as last year's title. Indeed, there's a fairly compelling argument that Ubisoft has made a play for improved performance this year by scaling back on Unity's sheer ambition. The online multiplayer modes are gone, meaning that the co-op functionality that debuted last year has been discarded. Bearing in mind that Assassin's Creed Syndicate features twins as its main protagonists, each with their own strengths and weaknesses, it's not difficult to imagine that co-op may well have been a key factor in the game's design brief at some point in the past. On top of that, another major innovation found in Unity, the prevalence of internal locations, has also been pared back, though not removed entirely. Side mission markers for clearing Templar influence and street corner pubs with collectibles have interiors, while key landmarks such as the Palace of Westminster are also explorable. It's also safe to say that NPC count is also somewhat reduced compared to Unity's rioting crowds, and perhaps not quite representative of the 3.2 million souls that made Victorian London one of the most population-dense cities in the world during the game's 1860s timeframe. However, aesthetically, the streets don't look quite so bare as they appeared in the initial reveal materials, and the inclusion of vehicles fills up the wide city streets quite nicely. The inclusion of horse-drawn carriages shows that there is some core innovation added to the game at a technical level, and it's also good to see the return of the series' dynamic time of day. So the question is, has Ubisoft got the balance right this time? Just like Unity, the developer aims for a locked 30 FPS update, but this time it does a much better job of hitting its performance targets. Assassin's Creed Unity on console was farcical in places, even after multiple patches, often lurching down to 20 FPS or even lower. Curiously, it was PlayStation 4 that disappointed most, easily beaten during gameplay by a faster Xbox One release. Ultimately though, both consoles failed to impress. Sustained sub 30 FPS gameplay just doesn't cut it. Syndicate shows genuine improvement here. In Unity we could see extended periods of gameplay where the 30 FPS target was nowhere in sight. Its successor shows huge improvement on both platforms, but it's clear that PlayStation 4 takes pole position. In terms of the gameplay experience, Unity's Xbox One performance lead has gone, and this time it's PlayStation 4 that offers the smoother ride throughout gameplay. Rapid traversal through environments can hit performance on both systems, but where the Microsoft box dips into the high 20s, PS4 has a better lock on its 30 FPS target, and when the Sony console dips to 27 FPS territory, Xbox One is a couple of FPS further off the pace. One thing that hasn't changed from Unity is the nigh-on identical lock in terms of visual features. We're still looking closely at both console versions of the game, but initial impressions suggest that once again the Anvil Next engine is offering an entirely like-for-like visual experience on both systems, from the 900p resolution to the effects work, anti-aliasing and texture filtering settings. In terms of stability, Ubisoft has also upped its game in terms of Syndicate QA, and as a result the multitude of glitches, bugs and overall strangeness we saw in Unity is substantially reduced. This is not to suggest you're in for an entirely clean run though. In one area we clipped through some scenery and got stuck in the water, necessitating a checkpoint restart. Elsewhere, characters disappeared in a cutscene, an unwelcome oddity but hardly game-breaking. So not completely ideal then, but more along the lines of a standard Assassin's Creed title as opposed to last year's nightmare. Overall, it feels like Syndicate is a positive step in the right direction. Stability isn't perfect, but there's no longer the sense that bugs, glitches and oddities actively intrude on the gameplay experience. Meanwhile, performance isn't quite up to the rock-solid frame rates achieved by Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, but it's certainly good enough, especially on PS4, and we are reaping the benefits of an engine designed for the current generation of console hardware, as opposed to the moderately enhanced last-gen tech we saw in Black Flag. Conceptually and technologically, perhaps the raw ambition of Unity isn't really here, but Ubisoft has doubled down on fun gameplay, reasonable performance and overall stability. Combine that with perhaps the most iconic locations seen in the series to date, and we suggest that given the brutal time constraints in producing these titles, Ubisoft has done well here, and it feels like the series is back on track. Anyway, that's all we've got for now. Give us a thumbs up on this video if you found it useful, and subscribe to Digital Foundry to ensure you don't miss a thing. But for now, thanks for watching.